caffeine and even the amphetamines found in traditional ADHD drugs, they're not actually giving us energy.
So now you're just going to give it a really good shake. And you just leave it on your counter overnight.
So if you're experiencing that sudden drop of energy every day at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon that pushes you to turn to coffee or sugar or energy drinks just to finish out the rest of your day, I'm going to show you a really simple thing you can include in your daily routine that's going to help solve this problem. But first, I want to say caffeine and even the amphetamines found in traditional ADHD drugs, they're not actually giving us energy, right? They are kicking our adrenal glands to produce the stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline. And that makes us feel awake, but it's at the cost of the health and the quality of our glands for the rest of our life. And I'll just preface that by saying our glands, I was able to experience like what a gland actually looks and feels like because I was able to be part of this dissection with an osteopathic school that I've been studying with. And in this dissection, the cadavers weren't embalmed, they were fresh. They'd actually been frozen and then rethawed, but the point was that the tissues were like our tissues. The tissues hadn't been dehydrated through the embalming process, right? And so we got to see a thyroid gland, we got to see the adrenal glands, and I think the closest thing I can correlate it to is it's like a raw egg yolk. And so that really made an impact on me, thinking like, oh, these glands are so little and so flimsy, so delicate, I guess is a better word, that things like stress or, impact from an accident or being just chronically dehydrated could actually really affect them, right? And so, the daily habit of an afternoon coffee in our culture, it seems pretty normal, but I think over the span of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it could actually be something that's really harmful to our adrenal glands. So I have a much easier, much simpler, and less expensive, both physically and economically, solution, and that is something called Solé Electrolyte Mix. And you just make it with 2 ingredients. It's sea salt and water. You make it in a certain way that causes the water to absorb all of the trace minerals in the sea salt. Sea salt has over 80 different minerals in it, all minerals that we need in our body in trace amounts, most of them, which are unfortunately not in our soil as much anymore just because of the industrialization of agriculture. So this is such a great way to get not only the big minerals that we need like magnesium, potassium, iron, zinc, but to get all of these other little trace minerals, boron, copper, manganese, chromium, all these things that we need in trace amounts in a bioavailable way. So I'm going to show you how to do this today. It's something I tell every patient that comes to see me about, and I've had a couple patients struggle with the recipe, and so I thought I would just make the video and show you how to do it, and you can refer back to it as needed.
So these are the ingredients here. You're going to need quite a bit of sea salt. So I have 2 different options here. This one is pink Himalayan, and then this one is a sea salt that I got in Mexico. It doesn't really matter where you get it as long as it is sea salt, natural salt. It could be Baja Gold, it could be pink Himalayan, it could be Celtic sea salt, or it could be like red brand or real salt, from Utah. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a glass mason jar. This is a quart-sized mason jar. And you're going to fill it 1 part salt. So I measured about a cup of salt here in this plastic cup. And I'm going to pour that in the jar. See how that's about 1/4 of the jar. Okay, so now all you do is you top off the jar with water. I'm using distilled water here. Just use any purified water. Leave a little bit at the top. So it looks like so. And I'm gonna place the plastic lid on there. This has to be plastic, the lid. It can't be the metal lid that you usually use with mason jars, because the metal will react with the salt. I mean, the water will react with the metal, salt water. So now you're just gonna give it a really good shake. And you just leave it on your counter overnight. Okay, so pretend it's the next morning, you come out, you're gonna drink some water first thing when you wake up, right? So you come out here, you check your Solé water. What you're gonna see is that the sodium, the excess sodium has stayed in the bottom of the jar. It's gonna be quite a bit. And then this whole thing is gonna be water on the top, and that water is full of all the trace minerals that are in your sea salt, over 80 different trace minerals. And you're going to take a plastic spoon or a wooden spoon, and you're going to get yourself a little teaspoon. This is half a teaspoon. You can start with that if you find yourself sensitive to the taste. I like the taste. I think it tastes like well water, but some people find that it's, it's different. You're going to put that in your cup. You're going to fill this with your filtered drinking water, and then you're going to drink it. And it's going to give you a really nice boost of minerals right in the morning. It's going to hydrate your cells. It's going to give you energy. And yeah, that's it.
And a couple of troubleshooting tips. I've had a few patients try to make this mix and they tell me that it tastes salty. If it tastes salty, you did something wrong. I'm not sure what you did. It could be you added too much salt. It could be that you shook it up before you drank it, before you were going to get your teaspoon out. I'm not sure. It could be maybe the wrong salt. So if it tastes salty, don't drink it. We don't want to be introducing like huge amounts of sodium. The idea is that the water pulls a little bit of sodium, of course, but not the majority is the trace minerals in the sea salt that is filling every molecule of water. This excess sodium stays on the bottom. That's why you don't shake it again. So I guess if it's tasting salty, let it sit. Maybe shake it up again, let it sit another night, and then try it again. And if it still tastes salty, you might have to start from scratch, and just make sure that you follow the directions to a T. And again, I like to start my day with this water. I like to have a little pick-me-up in the late afternoon when I'm feeling that slump after lunch and I'm feeling like starting to think coffee sounds like a good idea. But really, again, like I talked about in the beginning of this video, the coffee is a lie. It's not really giving us energy. It's actually contributing to an energy deficit later that we keep having to like withdraw from our adrenal account. And in the end, it's going to leave us, abuse of it is going to leave us adrenally fatigued. I'm not anti-coffee. I actually really love coffee. But I think that we have to drink responsibly. I don't think anyone really needs more than 1 cup of coffee a day. Maybe 2, like if it's your birthday or something. But 1 cup of coffee a day in the morning, that's healthy. Anything else, especially after I'd say like noon, it can interfere with your sleep. So, but much better to do something like the Solé in water in the afternoon. You could do a green tea if you're really feeling like that's not doing it for you, but try the Solé. And if you have any questions or you need help troubleshooting, then just leave your comments below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.